Angry Joe, and I'm here with Ryan, the game director for The Division. Tom Clancy's The Division. I just got out of the demo that they were running for it, and I gotta say, I was really, really impressed. I really was. But I think the first question that I get most of all on Twitter, from my fans at least, is the game actually going to look like that when it releases?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to hold it or we get that a lot. I think the problem with having an engine like Snowdrop that looks so the graphical fidelity is so high that of course you're going to have those concerns. But you know, we're working really hard, especially this year, to what we brought is the look that you'll have on Xbox One, PS4, and PC. And PC might even be able to push it. You know,
I've seen it. Hands-on demo there. They were even running a mobile app, which I got to talk about in a second. But this is legit, guys. It really is amazing. And in fact, I'm sure y'all have seen it. Just the way the windows break and all that glass. How exactly did you guys achieve all that? Is that your own internal engine?
Yeah, that's the destruction of Snowdrop, which is awesome. I'm not the Snowdrop guy, so I can tell you how it works, but I know that it's not pre-calculated. That's why you get all that physics reaction. That's why it looks so real. It almost feels real when you're in the game. So it's one of the many things that we're proud of with the game. The destruction is amazing.
I was watching it and I was thinking, wow, I was getting a feeling of RPG, almost mixing role-playing elements within the third-person shooters, because you're leveling up your character, you're finding loot, you have a variety of skill trees, and in fact, you can even mix, or you can even go down one skill tree and then adjust your skills up a different way. Can you talk a little bit about that mechanic where he showed off on his watch?
Yeah, absolutely. So the skill system in the game is set up that way. We don't want to have our players choose a class like front-loaded class. So a lot of RPGs, you got to pick, you know, tank or healer, or you choose that right away before you may even know how the game works. So we would rather have you unlock these skills, try them out with different weapons, and kind of define your own playstyle rather than us giving it to you. And the skills themselves, we have what's called modification. So as you level up in the game and you unlock more slots, you'll be able to change the functionality of your skills up to completely changing how it works entirely.
Now, obviously, a big part of the game is loot and finding loot. One guy he took down, he had a bigger backpack that he put on, which also added armor to the outfit he was wearing. I thought that was pretty cool. So how much different loot is in this game? Like, how many different weapons can you find and equipment?
Sure, it's a good question. I think the way we like to think about it, rather than number, is categories. So the weapons, we call them archetypes. So there's different categories. So you have pistols, shotguns, SMGs, assault rifles, and marksman rifles, and each one of those have a set of parameters. How much damage do they do from different distances? How quickly do they reload? And within those categories, we're going to have hundreds of weapons. But we're I'm sure closer to launch we'll have some crazy metric thrown out there of how many guns we have. But it's more about the variety of of what they do.
Okay, and so obviously we've guys revealed a little bit more having to do with the story. Can you talk a little bit about story? And this is set in New York.
Yes. So we're a mid-crisis game in New York. So a virus has been unleashed on Black Friday. You know, the biggest shopping day of the year. Yes, with our awesome Christmas tree prop that. It failed. It was supposed to be in the other room, but obviously that's the catalyst and the crux for why the whole game is happening, is the release of this virus. So we're an online multiplayer focused game, and doing storytelling and narrative in those type of games is pretty challenging. I don't want to be forced into a cutscene, let's say for you when we're playing together. I don't want you to have to wait for me. So our solution to that is, if you saw the main stage Microsoft demo, when I went up over the ramp and under the subway, there's a three-dimensional image that comes up, and we call that Echo. And what it is constantly as an agent, you're getting getting information from the environment. Closed circuit cameras, cell phone conversations, anything digital on an area is collected. And then certain places, like in the demo, you're able to make these projections, and they can be narrative story elements. It can be clues about the actual district you're in. It can be loot that you didn't see because it was hidden somehow. So it's our investigative tool for the agents that works with the story and how you'll follow the story, and also with actual gameplay elements.
I like that, investigations. It just gives you a little bit more story into the mythos. I saw it in action in the subway. He activated it. A ring came out. Really unique visual style with all this stuff, actually. And it seemed as if survivors were trying to get to the subway to like get out or something like that.
That particular scene is kind of the last train out. So this was the chaos that was happening as the final train heading out of Manhattan was leaving.
So that's how the story plays out through those echoes. Now, is there one bad guy that we're working towards here? One like an organization or some boss?
Sure. I mean, this happened for a reason, right? Something happened, but we'd rather have you play the game than give you the story ahead of time.
Okay, and a lot of people have, obviously it's an online-only game, and I have an awesome community, the Angry Army. I'll play MMOs and things like that. Being an online game like this, are we going to be able to create our own guild and work together and experience the game together in possible raid content or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, we're a goal for the game is to keep our players engaged for a long, long time, years to come. And a big part of that in these types of games is allowing the players to form their clans or their guilds and their communities. You'll see it when it comes out.
Come on, you got to,
Yes.
because I mean, look, that's that logo right there. This looks oddly similar to yours.
Nice.
Yeah, it would be really cool to be able to play with friends in an actual division.
Yes, in a competitive environment, and PvP is going to be a big part of the game. We're not sharing a whole lot more than last year about PvP, but if you're
So many PvP questions.
yes, well, we can talk about it, but I mean, the basic gist of it, there are the first areas in New York that were hit the hardest and were evacuated first are what we call dark zones, and in those areas you're going to have the same type of activities. We'll still lead you in there with content to do, but it's a public space, so you could actually be engaged by other players, so it gives that layer of depth and difficulty. But we'll be communicating more on PvP
Okay.
closer.
Okay, now I did see let's talk a little bit about that iPad app that was out there. That was quite impressive. The last game Ubisoft put out, they did have an iPad app. It was Watch Dogs, and they had a companion app, and it worked good, and it was a cool little mini game. But that one, it was like you were actually in the game, and I could see like the terrain that my friends were playing on. That's amazing. Like, is that really going to function at launch exactly as the way you demoed it there?
Functioning right now. I mean, that's the game, and so we're really proud of our companion app. It's a full group or crew or team in the division is 4 players plus 1 drone, so 4-point drone. And as you saw in the demo, they're able to mark targets. They can flush enemies out of combat. They can scout for the group. They can find resources that the group wouldn't be able to see, and it's real-time, simultaneous gameplay. So I think we're really pushing the envelope for this generation of games and what they have for their companions.
I think so too. I think the mobile apps recently kind of sucked. And this was an actual game, so you could probably play at work, although I don't recommend it. Could you do that? You could play at work on your mobile app while your friends are at home playing games.
Yeah, as long as you have a good connection. I would, 4G wireless.
Okay. Now, obviously, in an open world city like this, there has to be, let's talk about how big is this open city, and are there sections of it that are blocked off to us, either for story reasons, or is it a completely open world right from the beginning?
Well, we really wanted to push the open world feeling with New York, so we don't want to block off like your access to certain areas. Now, like I was talking about with the virus, there will be pockets of virus that are the levels are too high, so until you acquire the gear, the mask, to be able to go into those areas, you
can't go there.
You would just die. Exactly.
But then you could get the right equipment,
and then you could be fine. And on top of that, there'll be areas like you saw the cleaners. It's kind of our first faction we're introducing this year. They're if you're in an MMO term or an RPG term, they're elites. So they're a roaming faction that is attracted to these areas of high level contagion, and you're probably definitely not going to want to take those guys on alone.
Okay, and so, you're talking about the different factions. You probably can't say how many factions there are.
Not numbers, but we're really pushing ourselves to make sure that the factions are grounded, so they make sense in New York, but that we also can surprise you a little bit. So if it were a New York simulator in this situation, everyone would just be kind of generic enemies, and we really want to embellish that RPG side of it and create these groups that are believable and at the same time surprising a little bit.
But it's important to note that this is also a multiplayer-only game, right? You can't play this thing by yourself. Or can you?
You can absolutely play by yourself. So
but not offline?
Not offline. We encourage you and we want you to play the Division with others. I think that's the best way to have fun in games, and that's kind of how we think about it. But if you were to buy it on day one and get to go from the first level to maximum level to taking back New York to participating in PvP, and you never have to group with anyone else.
I'm really intrigued. I like how there's a lot of mystery behind this virus. There's still lots of stuff we don't know about in terms of game modes. Can you talk anything else on PvP game modes other than the main story, the cooperative?
We're not talking modes yet, but I can. What I can say for your for the what is it? The Angry Joe Army. The Angry Army is, we are really big into our community. We had a community event the other night. We're bringing some guys out to Malma to meet the team and to work with the dev teams, like 5 contest winners. And one of the biggest things that we get on a lot of our sites and emails is our community is really interested in the survival mode end of it. So, without saying anything, we've definitely heard the interest and are interested as well.
Okay, I know we're limited on time. I got one more question for you. I'm interested in the story. So it's like there will be a beginning, middle, and end, a satisfying conclusion to this thing?
Sure. I think a big part of RPGs is being immersed in a story, in a world, and with our setting and our being thrust in here and activated as an agent, you have an immediate purpose. Obviously New York is in the crapper. I don't know if I can say. Okay. And then you have the investigation, which is the narrative you're talking about. So it will be a rich, deep narrative that will be done in a way that I believe is new in these types of games with Echo and how we want to do storytelling, and hopefully you'll be surprised.
It's a new IP, and if it's good enough, I hope it becomes a franchise. But so many games have this sequel baiting ending, so I hope that it is a satisfying story from beginning to end there.
All right. Well, we hope so too.
Now, you guys have any plans for DLC or future content for the game post-release?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're building the Division, like you mentioned, a franchise. We're looking this as growing for years to come. So we absolutely want to add to the game post-launch. But right now we're focusing on getting this game out as good as possible, so we live up to the expectations of our fans.
Okay, cool. Tell us when it might come out and on what systems it'll be for.
Well, it will be out in 2015, and it's going to be out on PC, Xbox One, and PS4.
Okay, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us, and so we'll see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show.